Hey YouTube. It's been a while since I made a video because I've been waiting on version 9 to be released, but we're still waiting. So a little rainy day here in Florida, so I figured I'd go run some errands and let the FSDBeta do a little bit of rainy day driving. Traffic is very low, very slow in this intersection. There's no cars coming, so I'm just letting it do its thing, but that was just a creepy crawly transition there. Anyway, it did it just fine with no traffic. That's always good. Yeah, so I figured I'd do a little bit of driving in the rain, kind of see if the full self-driving kicks off with any weather or windshield wiper actions, and just put a drive on film. Some of you I know like to look at the videos even though it's on the same build, just to see if there's any differences. In case, let's see what we get. I got 2 or 3 little drives here. We'll see if we get some clips with some good activity. But since the last video, I tell you, Elon's been putting out a lot of tweets, talking a little bit about FSD, really talking about the version 9 being a step change. All right, there's our first one, poor weather detected. So this is kind of that overlap between Navigator and Autopilot in production and the FSDBeta build. So even though we've got that, it stayed engaged. Yeah, back to Elon's tweets. You know, he's really excited about all vision sensors in version 9 and removing radar. And with Omar at Homar's blog even clarifying that they're actually planning on removing the radar in future production lines. So that's a pretty significant statement to remove a sensor. And I know there's a lot of debate around removing sensors, but if it truly doesn't provide good data and vision is the way to go, then, you know, let's knock it out of the park with vision. Yeah, I think we're going to need some upgrades in resolution on cameras over time to continue to improve vision beyond where it is today. But with the cameras we have, you know, if this 360 stitch video really does give some improved consistency, is probably what it's more about, consistency. I truly believe that the phantom braking, a lot of the you know, pauses are interjections of that radar data versus vision data, where the radar sees something and it reacts to that. I thought it was an interesting bitrate discussion too, where Elon made a comment about the bitrate of video far surpasses either LiDAR or radar, and I can see that eventually. And when I say eventually, a nice slowdown there as he pulled out and started slowing down. It didn't actually start accelerating. Whoa, a little bit of a jerk there, until he was fully into that lane, which was an appropriate response. You know, I come from a military aviation background, and, you know, radar and infrared sensors and a lot of other technologies have been used for years. But of course, those aircraft that were designed, they didn't have vision capability, and high energy, long range radars are a much different animal than, you know, these low cost, you know, short range radar sensors that are currently installed on the car. So I don't think it's a good comparison to have, you know, military radar versus the onboard car radars that they're using here, because they're completely different sensors. You know, for example, you're not going to have a camera that can see, you know, over the horizon, you know, 200 miles like a military aircraft can. It just, you can't see that far. Things get too small without significant magnification, of course. Obviously, you have spy satellites that can see with the right magnification. In any case, those are interesting conversations. It really kind of creates the hype and the anticipation around version 9 and what's possible as they continue to label better. So here's a good situation where we got 3 stoplights. The middle one's inoperative, and even here on the camera, it's showing inoperative. All right, the car wants to go around this guy, and then it changed its mind, and it's going back again. That was interesting, kind of a little bit of a weave. Just heard the uptone, so obviously the Navigator, the FSDBeta is still driving, but the background noise on the Navigator and Autopilot is still creating those chimes. So that little weave in and out there was that overtaking, the downtown, was that overtaking logic that we've seen a lot in version 8.2, that it's happening at some inopportune times also. If you're stopped in a turn lane and you need to wait your turn, the car has been wanting to go around that traffic, and it's not the right behavior. A lot of the beta testers have been discussing that and annotating it. That wasn't the same exact scenario because it was going around a car that wasn't proceeding and it had the open right lane. And with such a low traffic density right now, it was a perfectly safe maneuver. I'm not sure why it weaved. I don't know what it saw. On this route here that we're having, I'm actually joining an interstate and then jumping right back off the interstate. So we'll get to see lane change. It's good. We'll get to see a transition on to Navigator and Autopilot in production, and then back off in a pretty short period of time. I'll keep the video running just to show both transitions. Interesting, yeah. Oh, the speed just changed. Now it's slowing down. I noticed the speed was going faster than the max, but that's because the speed limit just lowered. All right, should be getting into this right turn lane here. Okay, the light just turned yellow. So that's beyond, and it's jumping on this on-ramp. Slowed down pretty aggressively there, down to 30, which is fine for a ramp. All right, plenty clear to the merge. The merges here, we always I've discussed several different times. It doesn't need to get over here in this scenario. Just jumped on Navigator and Autopilot. It can stay in this lane because we're actually taking this exit here. Ramp speed limit sign at 55. Interesting, my max percentage is a little high right now. It should have bumped down when that speed limit changed. I'm just going to see what it does here. It's getting in this, it's taking a turn right here. Needs to go over here. All right, I'm not sure why it didn't jump off. Yeah, okay, so that was a disengagement due to navigation there. He's slowing down here. I don't know why it's going so fast. Okay, just letting it do what it's doing. Slow down, there we go. This max speed is definitely set a little too high right now. I'm letting it set the percentages as it sees fit. Okay, we've got a little bit of a merge, and we've got to get over 2 lanes. Wow, really? See, that max isn't changing. I gotta kind of tweak that down. Even when it jumped down to 45, the speed didn't change. All right, I'm trying to engage it here so it'll do its thing here. I want to kind of see it do this unprotected left. This is one of these interesting scenarios where it's got an unprotected left, but it's got a nice median merge here. Okay. All right, we're back on the second leg here. Got a stop sign onto a divided highway here, but it's clear to the left, pretty wide open, so it needs to just kind of proceed. There's a truck coming now. If it's going to go, it needs to go. All right, and it waited. All right, I'm pressing the accelerator. Not sure why it waited so long. Okay, right on red scenario here at a stoplight. Cars are coming across traffic there. All right, it's clear to go if it wants to go. Oh, got one more car coming. All right, now it's protected. Okay, it just waited. That's fine. Running a little bit harder now than it was on the previous segment. but it still doesn't seem to be affecting the vision at all. Alright, got the blinker for a right turn. Very good. Alright, now coming up, I've got a stop sign with a left turn across I believe it's 2 lanes with a median, so it's kind of a stop sign, unprotected left, so there's 2 lanes going either way. Okay, it needs to creep here. Okay, it's wide open, but now it's stopped. Ooh, gosh, it feels like it's out in the middle. Alright, I'm not sure why it's waiting here. There's cars coming now, it can't go, but it's in the lane. Alright, okay, it can't go. Alright, it needs to go, and it went, but it went, and that car had to go around me. Alright, so that wasn't very helpful. I'm going to go ahead and mark that, because that oncoming car was in the lane, and I don't know if you can see when I pulled out, it had to go around me a little bit. A little bit of a phantom brake there, not sure what that was about. Slowed down to 35. Looks like the max speed's adjusting appropriately now. It wasn't doing it the first part of the trip. Alright, got in the turn lane appropriately. See how it handles this. Should be fairly straightforward with a protected left arrow here behind this car. Interesting how the vector's got a little bit of a bend right there. Not exactly sure what that's about. Definitely unsure. It's kind of flickering quite a bit. And now it thinks it sees 2 cars, and now it's down to 1. Alright, we're protected left here. Oh, that was me. I accidentally had too much friction on the steering wheel. Alright, I'm going to go ahead. I'm here at basically the parking lot of Costco now, so I'm going to go ahead and re-engage after. Alright, last leg. See how this works out. Got some funky parking lot work to do here. Yeah, it didn't understand that. Try again here in a second. It's got a pretty hard look back over here to the left. Actually, the route's not correct yet, so I'm not going to engage it. It didn't map me correctly out of the parking lot. Alright, we'll re-engage here. Looks like we got a protected green arrow up here. A little close to that barrel. Alright, we'll re-engage there. Alright, it's jumping on the interstate here with a little bit of a merge. Still got the poor weather detected in this rain today. Having a little phantom brake right there, slowed down hard. Alright, it's clear to merge. Again, it's not using the blinker here. I don't know if it's going to. Okay, it just did. It changed lanes. It was good. is a highway, kind of a auxiliary ramp here. If you can see over here to the left, the interstate's over there. We will be joining that in a second. So it's still using FSDBeta here, even though it looks and feels like a highway. It's actually treating it like a access road. Kind of goes to show that those designations, there's a little bit of a weave there with the mapping, I'm assuming. You got a side merge coming up here. There's no cars right now, but this is one of those scenarios. Sometimes when the lane gets wider, sometimes it uses both lanes. Let's see if it does it up here. All right, there's the end of the merge. The lane just got wider. You can see it there displayed. No, it didn't do it this time. Did a pretty good job. Hugging the left side a little bit. Nice. It's kind of going into the middle now here, but that's much more towards the end of it, which is good. All right, and now I jumped over to the normal navigator and autopilot now that we're off of that access. And here you can see we've got a merge. You should be using a blinker here. And it looks like it's just going to kind of do the assume it's my lane sort of merge here, and you see the lane just got wider and it just kind of slid over. That's not the right behavior. I've been tagging that forever. Hopefully we can get something like that fixed in version 9. Alright, back to FSD. It's got the green arrow now. We'll see if it kind of goes for it. I think at this speed we're going to lose it. Yeah, we lost it. It turned yellow there. Alright, it's got the blinker on perfectly. This is a dual turn lane here. Gotta play with the display a little bit while we're waiting. Interesting in this one, so there's a light over here to my left, which you might not be able to see, but the car can. It's basically right here on the left edge of the road, and so that's sort of appropriately marked. These two lights up here are definitely marked, and this one here, there is another one over here on the side. It's red right now. I can see it just by the glow, but you can tell that the cameras can't see this one. Okay, we got the protected left here. Very aggressive, hard left to stay in that lane. It wasn't a very smooth curve there. It's almost like it didn't have a projected path. It did that kind of at the last second. I think with the rain today and the weather and the cloudy weather, you can really see the lights, the light traffic signals, and how the brighter lights are the controlling ones here. So here are 3 greens, and you can see how they're kind of glowing bright. That means it's perceiving that as a controlling signal. If there's a signal, interesting, that car up there that's green is actually in the middle lane, but it's perceiving it as being the car in the lead there because of the way the curve is going here. It's another interesting little side note. It kind of keeps flashing between blue and green. So it's sort of beyond the perception of the white lines on the horizon, kind of giving a little bit of a visual indication of the maximum range. At least what's being displayed. it looks like it's finally picked up the car directly in front of me. It's a green follow me car there. These cars up here flashing between blue and yellow is similar to one of my previous videos where the oncoming traffic was also flickering between, I believe it was purple and yellow. I may be wrong on the purple, it might have been blue also. But that indecision on what type of contact that is, I think it's something that needs to be refined, and I think that adds to a lot of the indecision it has when it's trying to cross traffic. A little bit of a weave there. Kind of slowing down unnecessarily here, but the speed limit slowed down, so I guess it was adjusting for that a little bit. Extra bright lights, you can see. Okay, on this next intersection, as we approach it, I'll try to show you how the light over in the turn lane should not be bright. It should be like a lighter pink because it's not a controlling signal. And the green should be the glowing bright. Let's see if it shows that correctly. Bright, and didn't want it to change in the middle of the intersection there. I don't mind that it was changing lanes, but it was doing it right in the middle of the intersection. So here's 3 red lights. You can see they're all can't go. Yeah, it was gonna keep going. All right. That wasn't so hot. A couple snapshots there. All right, we're in the parking lot now. Gonna run a quick errand here. I'll turn the camera back on the next leg. GoPro, stop recording. Kind of glowing with that little glowing signal, and there's an inoperative light, and that's actually correct. Oh, and it just flashed. Interesting. Another inoperative light. It's showing it as inoperative with a little bit of a flash there at the end. Blinker on just for a second, but then it went off. All right, so I think I can show you here about the light colors. Can you see how bright these are? They're glowing. Those are my controlling lights. Whereas these arrows here are very dimly lit, but they're you can tell they're red, but they would be kind of glowing with this red glow if they were the controlling light, or if it thought it was the controlling light. And I think that the confusion when sometimes it's running a red light or proceeding when it's red, the times I've noticed it, it was treating it as if it was controlling. And a lot of times that happens when there's kind of an offset angle. See, look, there's a dim green, but then the glowing green. So, a little bit of a jerk there. So when there's lights at a different angle or funny corners, or where you're not perfectly perpendicular to the lights, it's having to do a little bit of judgment. I don't know where it's counting or trying to determine which lane it's over, but that's when I think it's making mistakes on determining whether or not it's a controlling light or not. These are fairly straightforward ones, lights here, when they're pretty perpendicular. I've got a few intersections where sometimes there's layers of lights. There's one here, but then there's another set right behind it that's for a different lane, and sometimes it gets the wrong controlling light signal. Okay, we're coming up on our last turn here, so we just got about a mile to go. It needs to get over 2 more lanes. See how it chooses to do it here. It's using its full maximum speed here. It's got plenty of room to do it now, so it's not going to have to fight itself, but it's in the far left lane when it needs to get to the far right lane. Sometimes I wish it would think a little bit further ahead on those type of decisions for navigation. And it didn't have any problems getting all the way over on this low traffic scenario. So this is a scenario where the speed limit's going from 50, it's slowing down to 45. It should quickly identify that. And for this right turn here, so this traffic, interesting, we do have a fallen branch here. It should have some identification of that here. Yeah, a little bit of green there. It came pretty close to it though. It feels like it slows down too much on a highway of a speed of 45 or 50 miles an hour. It's the way the car is programmed to do it, but as a driver, I'm always afraid of someone coming up from behind me that's doing the 45 or 55 miles an hour, and here I've slowed all the way down to 10 or 15 miles just to make that turn. That's just one of those things that I think it's just got to learn over time. Okay, well, we've reached our destination. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today with some poor weather traffic. Leave the comments below if you got anything that you saw that you didn't think I mentioned. Enjoy the day.